You sit down or don't get.
No,
Wait, sit down.
There's no end to life's hardships.
I don't know what to do.
I needed to lose weight or I was gonna die.
And just like that, there's no end to the mind-boggling stories of extraordinary people who survived it all.
The thought of one day me walking into a kitchen full of food horrified me.
I was able to get off depression medication, which was a huge deal for me.
I've gained a whole new independence, and I finally moved out from my family's house.
537 pounds. That's a lot of weight to lose.
Born with rare features and dealing with unique situations.
Do you look like you're malnourished?
Here are the rarest people who survived the impossible and shocked the whole world.
I mean, I lost all that weight, and I owe him my whole life.
I love you too, man.
Thanks, man.
Chitoka Light. Chitoka Light had been bedridden for 3 long years, weighing almost 680 pounds. She felt trapped in what she called a flesh prison. She was scared to have weight loss surgery, knowing the risks involved. But things started to change when she began working with a personal trainer. With determination, Chitoka managed to get out of bed and walk, which was the turning point that convinced the surgeons to approve her for the operation. For the first time in years, she could be at home alone without needing constant help. After the surgery, her journey towards independence was celebrated by her family. 605 pounds woman. Let's start with Tracy, who spent most of her days in bed because of a rare condition that made moving around a real challenge.
I feel trapped in my body because somewhere in there's a normal person.
Her legs carried most of her weight, which turned walking into a daily hurdle. She always needed someone by her side to help her out.
My husband does pretty much everything for me. And if he didn't help me out of bed in the morning, there'd be no way I could stand up on my own.
This condition caused an unusual buildup of fat in her legs and lower body, making even everyday tasks feel like big challenges. With her best friend Lisa and a team of doctors in her corner, she found ways to adjust and keep going. She was 605 pounds, so the doctor told her that if she lost just 30 pounds, she would be approved for surgery. Did she? Well, you better believe it.
My goal is to be under 441 pounds today. I can't believe that.
Even with the hurdles she faced, Tracy's positive attitude never wavered. In just 12 months, she lost 218 pounds. More power to this woman. Pregnancy and obesity. Moving on, we have the case of Jane. By the 5th month of her pregnancy, Jane was ready to embrace the glow everyone talked about.
I'm starting at 319 pounds.
But instead, she found herself dealing with an unexpected twist.
Got my IV hooked up, and they're gonna come and get me when they're ready.
She developed a condition called symphysis pubis dysfunction, SPD, which made even the simplest movement feel like a major task. Walking became painful, and lifting her legs was out of the question. As a result, Jane's usual routine of staying active took a back seat, and for the last 4 to 5 months of her pregnancy, she didn't move around much at all. This led to some extra weight gain, which became a challenge on its own. However, despite the difficulties, she focused on taking care of herself in other ways, finding joy in the little things. At 9 months, she gave a month to a beautiful little boy and gradually lost the weight she put on. 631 pounds mother. Renee always found comfort in food. It started when she was a kid, a little escape from the tough times at home. As she grew older, that relationship with food stuck around, becoming a constant in her life.
I felt like my mom wouldn't protect me. I had nobody to talk to, nowhere to turn.
So I turned to food to escape the pain.
When she lost her job, Renee stumbled upon something unexpected.
Not only did I find out that there was men out there that like big women, but there was also men out there that love to watch women eat. They're called feeders.
There were people on the internet willing to pay just to watch her eat. It seemed like an easy way to make some money, so she dove in. At first it was fun, but soon she became so obese that getting out of bed twice a day became very hard.
And by the time I was in my mid-30s, I weighed over 450 pounds.
She said all this was to support her children. This grim reality resulted in her being a 631 lb mother. And despite the criticism, Renee is okay with the weight. Extraordinary pregnancy. Jennifer's pregnancy was anything but ordinary. Navigating the ups and downs of pregnancy while dealing with extreme obesity made every day a bit of an adventure.
I didn't have a tough childhood per se, it's just I was chunky.
As if the usual pregnancy changes weren't enough, the added challenges of obesity brought their own set of surprises. Some days were filled with unexpected laughter, while others were a lot to handle, but Jennifer faced it all with her signature blend of determination and humor.
I told the doctor, cut, remove, burn, tie, do whatever you gotta do, because I have a boy and a girl, I don't need any more.
She knew the combination of pregnancy and obesity wasn't an easy one, but she was committed to making the best of it. And let's just hope she made it, as there's not much information provided on what happened afterwards.
This baby decided to make an entrance. Can't figure out how he did it without any tube being there.
Samantha's weight loss story. While some people would lose their heart to obesity, Samantha did something else, and incredible. She decided to fight.
This was major surgery. It was a big risk. We took a risk operating on you. I appreciate your confidence in us and me to have surgery.
In her prime years, she weighed nearly 1,000 pounds. She would earn money by eating and showing online. This had turned into a double-edged sword. While they provided financial support, they also put her health at serious risk. But she was determined to turn her life around. Doctors stepped in and performed a surgery to help reduce her weight. She lost a few hundred pounds, but Samantha still has a long way to go, which she believes she would do with the constant support she has.
Now that Sam has come through the surgery so well, it's important for her to get serious about the emotional aspect of this problem and her issues.
Lupe's journey. Like many people in this world, when stress hit, Lupe used to turn to food, finding comfort in every bite. Her daily intake would skyrocket to a staggering 20,000 to 30,000 calories. But as the pounds piled on, so did the complications. She became bedridden. One day, things took a terrifying turn when she slipped into a diabetic coma. The situation became so serious that the doctors had to perform a tracheotomy because the fat around her neck was making it hard for her to breathe, even with a ventilator. That moment was a wake-up call for Lupe. She realized that if she wanted to live, she had to make some big changes. It's been 10 years since that coma, and though Lupe hasn't walked on her own since, she's far from giving up. She's committed to a reduced diet and has been steadily losing weight. A new life. Christina's journey from 708 pounds to a healthier life is nothing short of remarkable. She experienced a cardiac arrest due to obesity. That moment was the turning point for her, a clear sign that it was time to take control of her health. With a renewed determination, Christina went on her weight loss journey with everything she had. She wasn't just shedding pounds, she was reclaiming her life. Through dedication and hard work, Christina has lost an astonishing 537 pounds.
I've gained a whole new independence, and I finally moved out from my family's house. It's hard to let it all sink in how much has changed.
Yes, you heard that right. She has transformed not just her body, but her entire outlook on life. Half-ton man. You know the person needs to shred some weight when a wall has to be knocked down to take him out. Patrick Duell's story is nothing short of amazing. This man weighs as much as 5 baby elephants and is just shy of a Mini Cooper.
He was taking in lots of calories, but he was not taking in high-quality calories. Lots of fats and lots of carbohydrates.
Patrick was one of the heaviest men ever recorded, tipping the scales at a staggering 1,060 pounds. His weight was so immense that a wall had to be knocked out of his house just to get him into a reinforced ambulance for hospital treatment. At the hospital, Patrick's strict diet and care helped him shed an incredible 420 pounds. After a successful gastric bypass operation, he returned home with a crucial choice ahead: to continue fighting for his life or to fall back into old eating habits.
From not being able to do anything to being able to walk around and do things.
Amazing weight loss. Up next, at 35 years of age, Tamy found herself weighing close to 600 pounds.
I'm a carb eater. I love my carbs. And I emotionally eat. I eat when I'm bored.
This was a result of the emotional challenges she had been facing. Life felt heavy, not just physically, but emotionally too. Her husband and son were deeply concerned. After many conversations, they finally convinced her that it was time to make a change, not just for herself, but so she could fully enjoy life with them. Tamy's journey to lose weight wasn't just about the scale, it was about rediscovering joy in the everyday moment.
I think you'll be ready for the skin mass in your stomach to be removed.
She lost 250 pounds, mostly from her belly. Her doctor was incredibly proud of her.
Okay, well, you're doing great, and I'm very proud of you.
The heaviest woman. Nikki once lived a life where every day felt like an uphill battle. Weighing 650 pounds, she felt stuck in her own body, with food being the only comfort in a world that often felt overwhelming.
You gained weight and you're getting to be 700 pounds. Things need to be changed now.
But after reaching a point where she could no longer ignore the toll it was taking on her health and happiness, Nikki decided it was time for a major change. Nikki was determined to turn her life around, so she committed to a journey of transformation. Over the course of a year, she worked tirelessly, staying focused on her goals. She lost over 400 pounds and began to feel more like herself than she had in years. With each pound shed, Nikki gained more freedom and joy in her everyday life. World record for biggest hips. I know this will make some people excited. Unlike most people in this video who cannot control their weight, Bobby Joe Wesley has her sights set on an unusual goal. She wants to break the Guinness World Record for the biggest hips.
Having big hips is kind of difficult. When I go down up the steps, I have to turn sideways. I can't sit in chairs with arms.
Living in York, Pennsylvania, Bobby Joe already boasts impressive 95-inch hips, but with the current record standing at 99 inches, she's determined to go bigger. To many, the idea of chasing such a record might seem extreme, but for Bobby Joe, it's a personal quest. She's proud of her unique figure and wants to make her mark in a way that few others can. Do you agree with her?
I want to be known for something, and if it means having the world's biggest hips, then that's what I want.
Britain's fattest man. Here we have Barry, whose mornings start like no other by firing up a row of fryers, ready to kick off his day with a feast.
Oh, he loves his breakfast. That's his main meal of the day, that and his curry. He can't go without his breakfast every morning. He's chomping at the bit if you don't get it.
Known as Britain's fattest man, Barry had a serious love for fast food. His favorite meals were burgers, and not just one or two. Barry could easily devour up to 5 burgers in a single day. From a young age, Barry always carried a bit of extra weight, but as he grew older, he didn't pay much attention to his diet. Before he knew it, Barry had reached a point where obesity became his everyday reality. But despite his size, Barry's sense of humor and love for food kept him going. He had an appetite for life that matched his appetite for burgers, even though he knew it was time to rethink his choices. Determination leads to success. At 657 pounds, Amber's life had become a struggle. She felt like she was trapped in her own body. Her weight wasn't just affecting her physically, it was taking a toll on her health, her relationships, and her happiness.
My back hurts. My shins hurt.
Something had to change. With her husband's support and a newfound resolve, she began her journey toward better health. It wasn't easy, but Amber's strength and determination pushed her forward, step by step. Though the road ahead was long, Amber focused on the little victories. Whether it was eating healthier meals or finding new ways to stay active, she realized that reclaiming her life was about more than just the numbers on the scale. It was about rediscovering joy, energy, and a sense of purpose. Beyond the scale's limit. 26-year-old Shawn's struggles with overeating started in childhood, which was a response to his father's harsh words.
This scale goes only to 800 pounds. I need to know your true weight, so we're gonna get you to bed scale.
After his parents' divorce when Shawn was 10, he turned to food for comfort. By high school, he weighed over 400 pounds. An ankle injury during his senior year left Shawn bedridden, and his mother continued to feed him excessively, worsening his condition. Shawn went to Dr. Now's clinic, but the initial weight scale could only reach 800 Lb, which could not read Shawn's actual weight. It was later confirmed Shawn weighed 1,003 pounds. Therapy helped, and Shawn lost 367 pounds, qualifying for surgery. After a successful gastric bypass, he lost 455 pounds. Weight loss transformation. Charity Pierce was once believed to be the heaviest woman in the world. Weighing over 778 pounds since her teens, her world became limited by her size. She was housebound and worried that time was running out. Charity feared she might not live long enough to marry her fiance Tony, who's 17 years younger. But despite the challenges, Charity wasn't giving up.
I'm taking this risk because it's the only opportunity I have. It's my last resort. I have to try it, or I'm gonna die.
An accident back in 2000 had slowed her down, leading to a lymphedema that knocked her confidence. But now, Charity is on a mission to turn things around. With the support of her doctors, she's made incredible progress and she shed around 200 pounds. Heaviest Russian kid. In the southern Caucasus, near the Nitsik River, a boy named Jambalak, or Jambo, lives in a spa town known for its pure water. At just 8 years old, Jambo weighs 134 kilos and stands 150 meters tall, making him the heaviest child in the world. Jambo's daily life is unique. His mother prepares a large meal with plenty of meatballs and potatoes. Wooden chairs can't support his weight, so he uses a metal chair for meals. Despite a diet of fruits and vegetables, Jambo's love for meatballs is strong. Locals admire Jambo, who enjoys being the center of attention and even dreams of becoming as strong as Sylvester Stallone. Paul Mason. When they need to put metal poles under the floor for it not to break from his weight, you know he is heavy. Paul Mason at 54 was once one of the heaviest men in the world, weighing a crazy 980 pounds. After an incredible weight loss of 650 pounds, Paul is now facing a new challenge. Over 100 pounds of excess skin. This extra skin makes moving and exercising difficult and painful.
And you're still trapped in a baggy old skin.
Paul's journey began with life-saving gastric bypass surgery in 2010. Now he's preparing for another, all thanks to a generous doctor in New York. His fiancée Rebecca has been his rock, supporting him through every step. Arya Permana is a teenager from Karawang, West Java, who weighed as much as 6 boys his age, tipping the scales at a whopping 30 stone. That is 420 pounds. His weight made even a short walk a struggle. After years of eating 5 meals a day, his parents, Aid and Rokaya Somantri, realized that surgery was his only hope. In a groundbreaking move, Arya became the youngest person ever to undergo a gastric sleeve operation. Just a month later, he lost nearly 5 stone. Doctors at Omni Hospital in Jakarta were hopeful he would shed another 15 stone in the next year. Donna Simpson. Donna Simpson is a woman who loves her body just the way it is. She really stands out in a crowd. At 43 stone or 600 lbs, she's proudly known as one of the world's heaviest women.
The double quarter pounder, I like the chicken selects, I love Big Macs and more fries.
Donna enjoys showing off her supersized frame in front of cameras, and she's even made it into the Guinness Book of Records as the largest woman ever to give birth. Donna dreams of reaching 72 stone, but admits it might be a bit too much. I love my weight and my size, she says with a smile. Her fantasy goal, 1,000 pounds. Now you don't hear such dreams every day. Juan Pedro. Next up, Juan Pedro is the world's heaviest man at 2,100 pounds. And here in this video, he is finally stepping out of his bed after 6 years. For the first time in years, medical staff helped him out of bed to get treatment for his severe obesity and related health issues. Juan Pedro from central Mexico struggles with type 2 diabetes, thyroid problems, fluid in his lungs, and high blood pressure. His weight has kept him bedbound for 6 long years. His mom is hopeful that this first step out of bed is a sign of better things to come. Kenneth Brumley. Kenneth Brumley is famously known as the half-ton dad. He is one of the heaviest people ever recorded, weighing a crazy 1,033 pounds. As a father of 4, Kenneth's daily calorie intake was greater than 30,000, leaving him bedridden for 15 years.
I got into this shape here probably in the last 7 years, and it's probably been the last 7 years have been the worst years of my life.
His life took a dramatic turn when he was accepted for gastric bypass surgery. The challenge of removing him from his home was so immense that a fire crew had to break down a wall to get him out. At Renaissance Hospital, Kenneth joined Renee Williams, who was believed to be the world's heaviest woman at the time. Match made in hospital, Robert Gibbs. In 2012, Robert Gibbs turned to Dr. Phil after a YouTube video about his lifelong battle with obesity went viral. He weighed between 650 and 700 pounds. And what's even worse is that Robert hadn't checked his weight since he was 18. An industrial scale revealed he tipped the scales at 756 pounds, which was a shocking number even to him. Reflecting on his past, Robert recalls being 453 pounds at 13 and laments missing out on activities like riding bikes and playing basketball.
At 13 years of age, you were 453 pounds. Have you looked and seen your life going by?
He says, wishing he could be active and eventually have a family of his own. Khaled Mohsin. In Saudi Arabia, there is a man named Khaled Shire who weighed a staggering 1,344 pounds. Here's the fascinating part. Khaled was airlifted from his home after a special order from King Abdullah. At 20 years old, Khaled had been confined to his room for 2.5 years. Just recently, the king stepped in, arranging for Khaled to receive treatment in Riyadh. A specially equipped plane was prepared for his journey, and a forklift helped transfer him from his home in Jazan to an ambulance. His cousin Nasser expressed relief and gratitude, saying they had long awaited this moment. The king's intervention ensured that Khaled would get the care he needed in a safe and dignified manner. Khaled's case is particularly notable because he is the second heaviest man ever recorded. Monica Riley. And here we have Monica Riley, who has no plans to slim down. At 27, she's aiming for a weight of 1,000 pounds.
Back in the Egyptian ages, where like the fatter you were, the more loved you were, I guess.
Now you don't see this every day. She wants to be like ancient Egyptian queens who were revered for their size. Her daily intake ranges between 6,000 to 8,000 calories, with her boyfriend Sydney by her side, supporting her every step of the way. Sydney is proud of Monica's achievements and helps her reach her goal by preparing weight gain shakes and assisting with funnel feeding. George Covington. George Covington, a 45-year-old kindergarten teacher from Illinois, found himself trapped in a body that was becoming harder to manage each day. At over 600 pounds, his size dictated almost every aspect of his life. Teaching was a job he loved, but it had become a struggle. George could barely move around his classroom. George's struggles weren't just physical, they were deeply emotional. A high school breakup left him feeling unworthy, and food became his comfort and defense mechanism. Despite his charming personality and love for teaching, George's weight held him back from fully living his life. Robert Butler. Next up, we investigate a dramatic story involving Robert Butler, a nearly 200-pound nursing home patient. Back in 2013, dozens of police, firefighters, and medical staff, along with a crane, were needed to move Robert from Bannister House to a special container for transport. It was discovered that a custom container was used to safely transport Robert. The operation took 7 hours. Robert had previously complained about his nursing home, saying his diet wasn't managed properly. However, the online community is still hopeful he'd managed to get healthy. Renna Williams. Half-Ton Mom is the story of the world's heaviest woman. Texas resident Renee Williams weighed 896 pounds at the young age of 29. As a mother of 2, she had been told for years that she was too heavy for a potentially life-saving gastric bypass. But finally, a doctor agreed to operate. The operation was her last chance, but it carried a high risk. Either she would be on the way to losing 700 pounds, or she would be at the risk of losing her life.
I have all my trust in him. I know he's more certain than I am.
Even though the surgery was at first a success, unfortunately, she lost her life due to complications after the procedure. Ashley Dunn. At 27, Ashley was trapped in a body that weighed 725 pounds. This is a weight that was slowly but surely pushing her towards an early grave. Her 5-year-old son, Patrick, had taken on the role of caregiver, helping his mother with chores that she could no longer manage on her own. Cooking, cleaning, and even carrying groceries were left to him. Ashley knew this wasn't the childhood he deserved.
It makes me feel guilty because he's 5. He should be playing with toys and watching TV.
Her weight had become a physical and emotional prison, one that left her terrified of what the future might hold. Bathing was a challenge, and she feared that soon she would be completely immobile. She had turned to food for comfort during her childhood, and now that same comfort was a burden for her. Janice Green. Janice Green had faced a lifelong battle with one of the most severe cases of lymphedema ever seen. Her right leg had swollen to a crazy 150 pounds, making simple tasks like finding clothes or shoes nearly impossible. At 53, Janice had become mostly housebound, avoiding public places to escape the stares and unwanted attention. Despite this, she never gave up hope. Her condition was caused by a blockage in the lymphatic system and had no cure, but a new therapy offered a glimmer of hope. With the help of her supportive partner Raymond and the dedicated care from her medical team, Janice began treatment to reduce the swelling. Although she knew her leg would never be completely normal, the therapy brought her a renewed sense of life and possibility. Donald Shelton. Here's Donald Shelton's journey on My 600 LB Life is nothing short of amazing. Starting at 675 pounds, he constantly struggled with simple tasks. With the help of Dr. Nazaradin, Donald committed to a strict diet and exercise routine. Eventually, he was ready to undergo gastric bypass surgery. He ended up losing 300 pounds. However, his journey took a tough turn when he was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome. This is an autoimmune disorder that left him in a wheelchair. Despite setbacks and regaining some weight, Donald fought hard and eventually slimmed down to 390 pounds. Today, he stays active, enjoys life, and shares his progress on social media, inspiring others with his resilience. Zsalynn Whitworth. Before she even graduated high school, Zsalynn Whitworth weighed 375 pounds. Instead of hiding from her size, she embraced it, finding a supportive community through the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. Zsalynn married Gareth, a man who also appreciated larger women, but things changed after she underwent gastric bypass surgery and lost 316 pounds.
Why settle for a hot dog when you can have a steak?
Gareth wasn't happy with her transformation, leading to their divorce.
Gareth and I are finally officially divorced.
Now that's a first. However, Zsalynn felt empowered by her new health and was determined to keep the weight off. Octavia Gonzalez had always struggled with her weight, reaching over 500 pounds by the age of 20. Life took a tough turn when after her mother, Octavia, had to care for her younger sister. But as time went on, Desiree got married and moved out, leaving Octavia alone and tipping the scales at around 700 pounds. Octavia asked for help from Dr. Yunan Naran, a renowned weight loss doctor in Houston, Texas. With his guidance and her own determination, Octavia managed to lose an incredible 236 pounds, bringing her weight down to 456 pounds. Francis Serrano. Francis Serrano, who is just 28 years old, weighs over 500 pounds. His weight gain is not due to a medical condition, but rather from years of overeating and not exercising. To turn things around, Francis has chosen to undergo gastric bypass surgery, which is a major step to reduce his stomach. Francis knows that surgery alone isn't enough. He'll need to change his lifestyle to keep the weight off. Feeling hopeful, Francis is determined to make the necessary changes because he has so much to live for. Diana Bunch. Diana Bunch hails from Seattle and has become one of the most inspiring stories on TLC's My 600 LB Life. When she first appeared, Diana weighed 620 pounds and was in constant pain. Despite the challenges, she maintained a positive outlook and embarked on a transformative journey. Over multiple years and episodes, Diana shed an incredible 265 pounds, nearly half her peak weight, thanks to a strict diet and gastric sleeve surgery. A year later, she hit her goal weight of 195 pounds, celebrating a hard-earned victory. Kirsten Perez. Kirsten Perez from Longview, Washington started her journey on My 600 LB Life at 612 pounds. Life was tough. She couldn't even fit in a car and struggled with basic tasks. When she met Dr. Nazaradin, he gave her a challenge: lose 50 pounds in 1 month to qualify for weight loss surgery. Kirsten was determined, even though her son's teasing made it harder. Despite this, she didn't give up. She lost 49 pounds that month, which was just the beginning. Over the next year, Kirsten lost a total of 170 pounds. Her story is one of strength and determination, showing that no matter the obstacles, she could take control of her life again. 1000 LB Sisters. Now meet Tammy and Amy, who back in 2022 were finally meeting Dr. Proctor, the man who could change their lives.
Tammy and Amy, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Dr. Proctor.
You got it right on the first time.
Tammy dreamed of reclaiming her independence, but feared her weight would make her efforts futile. Her sister Amy had always been the skinny sister, but the scale said otherwise. Their nerves were palpable as they waited for Dr. Proctor's assessment. He was frank, listing their medical issues and stressing the urgency of their situation. Both sisters needed to lose significant weight before surgery could be considered. Despite their banter and occasional arguments, they knew the stakes were high. Determined to make a change, they left with a glimmer of hope, ready to tackle the challenge ahead. Mayra Rosales. In a shocking turn of events, Mayra was accused of accidentally killing her young nephew by falling on her. Eventually, Mayra confessed the truth. Her sister had been abusing the child. With this revelation, Mayra's charges were dropped, and her sister was sent to prison. Subscribers pick Aurora Satoshi, also known as Anatoly Makhanov, made history as the heaviest sumo wrestler ever. At the 2018 Autumn Grand Sumo Tournament in Tokyo, he weighed a crazy 643 pounds. As the first Russian to compete in professional sumo, Aurora had an impressive 18-year career and fought in 111 tournaments. His highest ranking was in the third-tier Makishita division. In August 2017, Aurora reached his peak weight, making him the heaviest sumo wrestler at the time. He retired in September 2018 and was known for his incredible appetite. He once even consumed 200 pieces of sushi and a crate of beer in one night. Crazy, right?